Welcome to Outfitter Interviews with Safari Club International's Golden Gate chapter. Today we have Jim Ruff of Black Gold Lodge. Welcome, Jim.
Hi there. I introduced myself, Jim Ruff, owner, operator, and builder of Black Gold Lodge in Rivers Inlet, British Columbia on the Central Coast. Rivers Inlet is known for huge fish, chinook salmon primarily, or kings, as you would call them, also silvers, or we call coho, and every type of fish, truly, with bottom fish and halibut. As a matter of fact, this past year, although the lodges weren't open, there was a private individual came from Vancouver Island, because we couldn't, no boats from the United States were allowed into our area. Anyway, he caught in the saltwater on a fishing rod, 105.6 pound new world record. So the good old days are now. So it's a wonderful fish.
That is amazing. 105 pounds for one fish.
Yeah. And my good friend, Craig Boddington, has had them on. Now, of course, we could never weigh them because being as it was, I managed to lose the fish for him, but it was a massive fish. I see lots of big fish, but it was tremendous. So anyway, our lodge, we've 33 years. When we open this season, it'll be our 33rd year. And it's just it's a floating lodge. So it's almost like a floating little village of 58,000 square feet. So we've built this up over the last 33 years. And met Craig actually in Dallas at the Dallas show several years ago. Anyway, we talked, and I literally talked him into come fishing, which he's not really a fisherman, but we did manage to get him up there, and he did have a great time and has been coming back for probably 13 years. But at one point, it was suggested that we have a tournament. And I said, Craig, what about we do a Craig Boddington salmon fishing tournament? And he said, yeah, great, we'll do that. And it's just a weekend. So what it involved was, once he agreed, I started soliciting, if you will, different outfitters around the world to see if they wanted to join in. And of course they did, not for Jim Ruff, but to be affiliated with Craig Boddington. They were quite happy to join in. So it's quite a simple affair. The people come in. The lodge is quite big. We take up to 60 people, but they're all in different cabins. Some as small as 2 people, others up to 12. We have a fleet of boats, 48 or 50 boats, client boats of different types. So we've been obviously doing this for enough years to know what we're doing. Now this more to the tournament. I've got you probably can see this now, but the thing that I guess we have to make sure people check our website, because it's fully detailed for everything. We have 2 different types of packages for people to come in. So it's better if they, I can't give all the information that's in our brochure or on our website in a short time. But this is good, and we've got from New Zealand. These are hunting trips, okay? Yes, this is I run a fishing business and have built it, but I am a hunter for sure. I've been in 4 continents, and the thing is that all these different people have given trips to their place. So it was always a $1,000 entry fee, which I wiped that out the last couple of years, and they come in for free. As far as the tournament, doesn't cost them to enter. So it does give trips to New Zealand, Australia, Africa, here into Canada, into the prairies, and trips back to my place, of course. So it's a simple affair where people go fishing in the morning, and we've got a board with their name on it, and we record their daily biggest fish. At the end of the tournament on Monday, I think at about 10 o'clock, as it starts Friday afternoon, we go to Monday. And by that time, we meet in our lounge, and Craig and I stand up front, and it's very simple. We just put a Post-it note with the guy's name. Whoever caught the biggest fish, he gets first pick. You got the second fish, he gets second pick, and so on. So they're all being able to see what they want and be able to select it. So at that point, they're given out. We've got plenty of trips to go around, and even if a person was sick and couldn't even fish, if there were prizes left at the end, he would get something. So that's how we do it. So it's a fun thing. We don't push it too hard, as they say, and it's a fun thing.
Okay. Well, how many different species of fish do people normally catch? I mean, is it just salmon, or might they catch?
Oh no, in our area, there's 4 types of salmon. The chinook, which you probably know them as kings. The coho, which are called silver in the southern part. We also have chum salmon. We have pink salmon. There are sockeye salmon, but we're not allowed to catch them. That's a commercial fish only. We have halibut. We've got all bottom fish, all kinds. Anything that's basically in the ocean is in that inlet. And the nice thing about it, there are other places on the BC coast that are good fishing. Few, or if any, would have anything of 100 pounds. That's not happening. But, the thing is that a lot of these people pay a lot of money to go for a fishing trip, and they may get to some of these areas and not even be able to get out due to weather conditions. Whereas in our 32 years of operation, we have never missed a day's fishing due to ocean conditions. So, we're in an area with lots of islands. The furthest place that the hottest spots would be about 6 minutes by boat to get to it. So everything's very close. And, we have people coming and going, and there's no, some places have real long trips to get out to the fishing grounds. Well, that's not the case. That's not the case. In fact, we've had halibut caught off the front of my lodge where you could still hear my generator running, and they've taken halibut right there. So it's different. Like I said, we get a lot of people come through. The beauty of it is, and again, I have to refer back to other lodges, because you may go and about the only private thing you're really going to get is a bedroom. Whereas with ours, they're individual cabins with different amounts of bedrooms, but they all have kitchen facilities. They all have living rooms, and their own bathrooms and everything else. So if you don't want to hang out with other people, you can leave the lounge, go to your own unit. And a lot of people come in larger groups of 8 or 10 people, and they pretty well want to socialize with themselves, not necessarily with other people they don't know. So that's rare in itself.
Yeah. Now, you said, if I heard correctly, you said 58,000 square feet, not 5,800, but 58,000 square feet.
Yeah. It's huge. It's like a little village.
I've been in villages smaller than that, I think.
Probably. Well, that's all the walking area. And the reason I know that is because that's what I have to pay for taxes.
I see. Okay. Now, a lot of our viewers are going to be hunters only, like myself. Yeah. I wouldn't have any idea how I would go about rigging up a fishing rod, or what depth to run at, or how to figure out what depth to run at.
Sure.
I mean, is there going to be somebody around to help me out if I come up to your lodge at some point?
Well, and I'll just give you a run through as to what happens. Once the people arrive at our place, I'm there to greet every plane, greet every person. And the planes can be 4 or 5, however many are coming in that particular changeover day, which is Monday and Friday. Once people are settled into their units, and fishing licenses have been distributed from our crew, those that need it, I take the people into the our one get-together room, as you say, and it's we go through everything. First of all, anybody in Canada that's fishing has to have a fishing license, a saltwater fishing license. A lot of people have them. So I will issue a temporary license, just a sheet of paper where they have to tick that I have read the item to them and initialed. Okay, so this I give out. That has to go with their. That's a boating license. Sorry, that's not a fishing. The fishing license we give. They have that, but it's the boating license. Nowadays they're getting a little picky on wanting everybody to have an actual pleasure craft operator's card. But for coming up for a short trip, that's unlikely people are going to want to do that. But we do that so they're safe. We go through every boat, whatever type they're going to be using. We go through it totally, every item in the boat, as far as how to operate them. The fishing clinic as well, where we're showing them how to. All the rods when they come in. No one needs to bring any fishing equipment to my place. It's all supplied. You don't have to do anything. The rods are in the boat. We show you how to cut the herring and how to prepare it, how to hook it up, and get all that done. And so everybody's comfortable with the information. And if they've been there, of course, away they go. But if not, and it's their first time, then we escort them to the fishing grounds. And we would show them probably 3 or 4 different spots to fish. And that's how we do it. Our fish master will stay with them and watch to make sure everything's going smooth. When everybody looks like they're settled in, then he'll leave. But we check on our people probably 3-4 times a day. All our boats have radios, depth sounders, paddles, fire extinguishers, obviously life jackets. So it's, like I say, after 32 years, this is our 33rd year coming, you pretty well get to know how to do it.
I guess so. So now, if I understood you correctly, you said that people just have to show up with whatever kind of clothing and rain gear and stuff like that they need, and they can buy their fishing license there from you. Yep. And use your rods and your boats, and they're good to go. It's all included. Yeah,
and also on that, we supply rain gear, rubber boots, all that is supplied.
Oh wow, even that's supplied.
Yeah, so you don't, truthfully, your personal gear, and when we go hunting to Africa or something, we take rifles and different things. Don't have to bring anything like that. We've got all the fishing gear. We've got special rods that you would use for halibut, the shorter, different type of reels. So what as I say, we cover all the bases. We've got big walk-in flash freezers. We do the vacuum packing in our all-inclusive package and clean the fish. So yeah, it's the way we do it. It's like I say, it's all old hat to us. And by the way, when Craig is fishing with me, we're not in the tournament. So we don't compete with the fellas that are fishing. That's a great deal. It's a great deal. A lot of people really enjoy it. And as I say, you have to check Black Gold Lodge, www.blackgoldlodge.com. Will take a few minutes and read my entire site, and you'll understand it completely.
Okay. So, with the airline restrictions the way they are these days, not having to pack any bulky items, that's got to be a really big plus for people who want to come up there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And people can drive to Port Hardy on Vancouver Island. They can take a ferry across, drive their car up, or pick up whatever they have and go to the airport in Port Hardy. We charter the planes to bring our people in and back out. We can't charter from Vancouver. We'll usually put them on if they want to fly from Vancouver, we arrange the flight for them. Then they'll be on a scheduled flight. But no, it's and the beauty of it is with being our own plane. If somebody has a little extra, it's really not that big of a deal. They do limit it to 50 pounds. There's no question. But remembering that if you're having a good trip, you're going to be taking out a lot more than you're bringing in just from the weight of the fish. So
yeah, exactly. That's one of the things that I would be looking forward to if I were going up there, because I'm not much of a fisherman, but I really do like salmon.
Yeah, no, and you know what? It's fun. It can be raining, it can be sunny, it can be any of the things that we can find anywhere on the coast. So that's pretty much irrelevant. But nothing like tying into one of those big chinook, because anything over 30 pounds is classified as a Tyee. So that's a Tyee salmon, anything 30 pounds and over. 25 pound, 20 pound, 10 pound is all good stuff. It's a great way to fight a fish. We do not use downriggers. We can get, what we do is motor mooching. Like I say, all the rods, all the equipment's there. And, you can get in closer to the rocks. And as I've said with Craig, we fish, and I say, Craig, we're not really fishing. When we're looking for big chinook, we're hunting. We're crawling along the shore and we are hunting. And he fully agreed. So it's the tournament's fun time. We have a very short season. I made the place this big where we take between 50 and 60 people. There's only two ways of determining how big a lodge is, and that's beds and boats. Okay? Because that's what counts. So, I had one guy in Rivers Inlet. He was probably the most successful at that time, and he only opened 29 days a year. And he said, no, I only want him to be in here in prime time, and that's it. No excuses. So fishing can be fishing, but I did the same thing. I built it big enough so that I only open 6 weeks a year. That's it. So, we opened last portion of July, and we close Labor Day in Canada, which is usually the 5th or 6th, like that. That's the first week of September. So it's a short season. But I've been to different places where you should have been here before, or boy, as soon as you left, it really got good. Well, you know what? We only open up prime time. So if they're not there, they're not there. But it is the prime time for the season.
Well, if somebody wanted to come up there by themselves, you talk about these groups of 4 or 5, 8 people and stuff like that. If somebody wanted to come up just by themselves, they'd be able to hook up with in another boat, or there's a way for somebody to come up solo if they wanted.
Well, you know what? A lot of lodges on the coast won't do that. Okay, a lot of them say, "Well, you pay for 2 trips or something." I don't do any of that stuff. This is my wife and I, family operated. We take singles, absolutely. Every year we'll take a single. He will get a lodge to himself if we have the space. If not, we may have to say, you've got a private bedroom, but you might have to, there's another guy or something in the other bedroom or whichever, but they get their own boat. Again, most of the guys that would do that, or people that would do that, we've got men and women, and, they're very keyed in. They know what they're doing and they're very safe. That's the biggest thing. And, just picture, and I've got one guy, a doctor out of Seattle, a heart surgeon. And I've gone up to his boat and, how you doing, Jim? I look in the bottom and he's got 2 over 50. Got him. Key is to get him by yourself. You get a 50-pound salmon on a fishing rod that's 10 feet long, quite limber. And now you've got to net that fish. Well, no easy task, as you can imagine. So we do take singles. Absolutely. We don't charge any more. They get the same service as anybody else, and there's a spot. Families, children under 12, we don't charge for. Children under 12, free with 2 adults. They pay their airfare, of course. But so a family operation, and 4 families, get the young people involved. We always have thought that way. And oddly enough, we've had kids come up, meet somebody, and come back and have their honeymoon at our place and get married years later. So, yeah, it's a fun thing. It really is.
Okay, that would really qualify as full service.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, you're talking about yourself and your wife and all that you do. How did you get into guiding? What started you down this path?
Yeah. Well, I did a little guiding out of Vancouver, very little. And in 1986, a great year, I killed my first 6-point bull elk. I caught my first 50-pound salmon, and I was in a car accident and went through the windshield and wasn't killed. So I thought, man, that's a good year. Those are all 3 good things. Anyway, I was hooked on Rivers Inlet. I used to where some people drive here, they may go out of Horseshoe Bay, ferry departure area. I used to moor my boat there, and we went out, often right there. So going to Rivers Inlet was a totally different story. It was like, wow, this is crazy. We had big fish galore. And you know what? I just had to go back. Living off a boat was really tough. I ended up getting friends with a fellow that had a place called Black Gold Lodge. It was one building, and he got the name because he was an oil man out of Alberta. And he said, everything I've got is due to black gold, which is oil. That's the name of this place. So when we bought this off of him, honestly, I didn't have enough money to buy another sign. So the name was in good keeping. So I just kept the name. A lot of people say, what does it mean? And whatever. But so we bought that. And the key is the lease, the foreshore lease that the buildings sit on. Remember, everything floats. So in doing that, he had the foresight to get it surveyed and had a long lease. So we took that over and then just kept building it. As I said, I was working at Safeway stores, actually, as a produce department manager. And I did that for 30 years. I built this and did both for some time. My children were involved. They literally grew up there. So, it evolved. I didn't plan anything. It just happened, and it just became everything that I wanted. In fact, for the first 3 or 4 years, I didn't even hunt. And at that time, grizzly bear were open, buy a tag over the counter. And I never did. I never had time. I also had the steelheading rights for 8 different rivers in the different inlets in the area. And did that. It was, to me, building it and sitting back and seeing it being built. I would take a crew of guys up, and man, I'll tell you, we were there I had 12 guys in 10 days, and we built the biggest unit I've got, right down to the beds made, carpet down, everything. So it's been a love. It really has. It's been a love to sit back. I like to build. And it's nice to sit back and see the achievement.
Okay. So what sort of fish can people expect? I mean, I can see on the wall behind you, there's a salmon sitting up there.
That's a chinook.
What kind of sizes you're talking about? Obviously, you've had that 100-pounder, but that's, way out there.
Yeah, it is. And honestly, we didn't catch that at our camp, but it was in the inlet. Our biggest has been, we had a 74-pounder come in. The guy had cut its throat and everything. It was blood all in the thing. So I weighed it, and then I just scooped up the blood. It was laying there and put it in a bag on the scale, and it went right to 85. But a Tyee, a 30-pound salmon is great. That's good. So, we keep track of how many of those we get, but, the 40s and 50s, 40s are pretty common. Craig's got a few 40s, I don't know what, 47, 8, whatever it is. But as far as the type of fish you're going to catch, you're going to be chinook and going to be silvers or coho. You call the chinooks kings, okay? And the coho, you guys call silvers. And they're primarily the fish you're going to target. Now, earlier in the season, up to about the 15th of August, there's always silvers. You're primarily looking for kings. As the season goes on, 12th, 14th, up to the end of September, the northern coho come in. Now, the reason they're called northerns is because they stay out a little longer. And they will actually go out as far as the chinooks go. And by the time they get back to the West Coast, usually at that time of year, the north wind starts blowing. So during the summer, we get south, southeast. But during that period, the wind changes to the north. So the old commercial fishermen used to say the northerns are on their way. And they will be bigger, coho, they'll go up to 20, 25 pounds, fighting unbelievable. And there's plenty of them. So, that's what people look for when they come in later, past like mid-August. They're looking for the big northern thing. Humpback whales right off the front of my place, killer whales, which we really don't want to see because they chase a lot of the salmon. But there's dolphin, there's everything. It's a unique place in that you can get out of all the ugly weather if it is, because there's lots of islands and such to fish around and get out of the wind. And yet you've got everything there, right from like I say, the bears, the eagles. I had one guy put something on Facebook, I think, and he said, where else could you go where you could get a 30-pound salmon, see bald eagles, whales, and a grizzly bear all in one day? So that was fun to read that. Yeah, it's good.
So you were talking about the northerns. When the northern winds start blowing, does that mean that the temperatures are going to get a lot colder at that time of year?
Yeah, and they do. And there's a few things that are well known and common, and that is the northern coho come in. The wind is irrelevant; it's just a name. But the fog isn't. And toward the end of August and September, you can pretty much be guaranteed you're going to have fog every day. And some days it's so thick you couldn't see the end of your hand if you held your arm out. But it usually burns off by around 10 in the morning, 10:30, noon. And for me, that's a scary time because I know the issues that can happen. Yes, people have got compasses and whatnot, and most with GPS. But when I'm there going, now, as you said, one person in a boat. So it's a nerve-wracking time of the year for me. I'm always on the water looking, okay, where are they? And I'm on the radio. Hey guys, you might want to move in closer to the land and stay there till this lifts. So yeah, that's just part of the business.
Okay. So, what is the daily limit for salmon up there?
And again, they're different. You're allowed to leave British Columbia. You're allowed 8 salmon, 4 of which may be chinook. Okay, and then you could have a variety for the other 4, or you could have 8 coho. You could have 8 pink salmon, but you leave British Columbia with 8. That is the limit.
Okay, and is it pretty easy to tell the difference between the different varieties?
Well, and that goes back to our fish clinic. And in every boat, we've got a chart on the back of it, shows every type of the salmon, so you can. And a lot of it's not easy. It's tough to identify any one animal or one fish. You get 2, well, then you can maybe see them. So it's the spots on the tail, the color of the gums in the mouth, the size, obviously. That's our job. That's what we're there to help without being a pest, to help the people to determine these things. I always look at this. They're there for a holiday. And so they don't need a pile of rules and regulations. They're there to enjoy themselves. And as long as they're safe, they don't go out when it's dark, and they don't come back when it's dark. We're pretty happy with that.
Okay, so somebody comes back from a day of fishing, and they've got a couple of salmon with them. What happens then? How people are going to want to take the meat home with them? Of course, what happens when they come back into shore or into the lodge, not to shore?
Well, again, to our 2 different packages. If it's all inclusive, the fish come in. We bring them out of the boat to our cleaning area. We clean them, scale them, clean them, fillet them. Ask the customer how they want it prepared. And that's what we do that. And then we take and vacuum pack them in our commercial vacuum packing system. They're all marked. Everybody's got a box, airline approved wax boxes, and everybody's got their name on it. And that's where we put them. Now, if somebody comes in on our standard package, they would be cleaning their own fish. I mean, we're not going to stand there and watch somebody struggle, but we would help them. But primarily, if they're coming on a standard package, they just want to cook their own food. And, we've got barbecues in front of every unit, and all the stoves, all the all the basics, the bedding, the towels, the salt, pepper, all the stuff that they need. We supply the coffee and all that. So every unit is able to do itself. And if they are having trouble cleaning fish, we'll help them do it.
What about the vacuum packing if on a basic package? Does that happen, or does it just put it in plastic bags?
On a standard package, they would pay for the bag, but that's all it comes down to, really.
Okay.
Not much, it's a few bucks.
Well, that's very fair. What can somebody do to prepare themselves for the best chance of success, having a good time up there?
Yeah. Well, I've got a little video that we put together. I've got that, and if somebody wants it, as soon as they've got their deposit in, I'll mail one to them so they can put it in their computer and they can see exactly. And what I'm doing at that point is I'm going over the fish clinic, how to cut the bait, which is important. How to set the hooks into the bait. Again, that's important. You want the bait, the herring bait, to come through the water like a drill bit. Now, having said that, the 1 year I remember these guys were probably had a little bit too much to drink at times, but they weren't really listening to too much I was saying. And this guy came in and he had his herring hooked up backwards, so it was swimming tail first. And I said, it could work. So, but I tried to tell him, it's backwards. Eh? And that afternoon he went out and he came in with a 38-pound chinook. So we can say all we want. It's the fish that determines whether he's going to bite or not.
Absolutely. That brings up another good question. Do you have a couple of good stories that you can tell about things that have happened up there at your place?
Oh, wow. It's, I don't go out very often. I must say that I run the place, and we've got a full crew. I've got 16 employees. It seems to keep me busy doing that. But the most of the time that I get to go out is very rarely, and it is with Craig Boddington. Him and I have gone out and sat in the pouring rain or the hot sun, and we've done it all and been fairly lucky. Other times we've scratched to find fish. They just don't come in that easily. But the day that he had that particular day, he had that big fish on, was the last turn in the evening. And he fought that fish for 45 minutes at least. And he got it into the side of the boat. Everything's looking good. And that day he caught a few other fish, and I was netting them for him. And this, I don't know how, but one of my suppliers, while buying nets, sent me a net that would be like for a 40 or 50-foot boat. So it's so high off the water, they need the extra extension on the handle. So they're a longer net handle. So I hit this damn thing on the roof a couple of times, and I was cursing this net because it was so long. And why did they put this in my boat for me, my crew? Anyway, when Craig caught that big fish and got it in right beside the boat, I was looking right at it. Now, at about 10 feet off the boat, that fish rolled, came up belly up. So it was ready, well ready to be netted. So Craig brought it in further, and we had it right by the bottom right at the edge of the boat, and the hooks popped out. They went flying past our head. The weight went flying past our head, and I went absolutely ballistic. And I'm just screaming and just, I look down, the fish is still there. It's about 4 feet under the water, but it's just laying there. It's upright, but it's laying. Well, I never put it together that I was cursing the net that was plenty long enough to go down there and catch that fish. I didn't do it. And when I decided, I'll net it. Well, by that time, it just kicked its tail and away it went. So I'll never forget that day, that's for sure.
Oh, that is a good story.
Yeah, that's and all true, too. So.
Oh, I'm it's probably more true than a lot of fishing stories.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, you gotta throw the blame where it belongs, and it certainly wasn't him. He had worked. Man, did he ever work for that fish? Yeah, it was a monster. So anyway, there's more to be caught. We'll get him into another big one.
Excellent. Well, Jim, it's been great talking to you, yes. And I'm sure that people are going to want to contact you about your facility there, and
Sure.
we'll have all sorts of contact information just beyond the end of this. And
Perfect.
also, we'll have the 1-minute video that Craig did about his experiences up at your
Yes.
place.
Yep. He had
And
one on the Craig Boddington endorsed outfitters, and then he did an additional one, which is they're good people. They really are. Salty.
Oh, he is. I've met Craig before, and he
Yeah.
seems to be just exactly the kind of person you'd want to sit around a campfire and chat with.
Oh, yeah. We did 2 shows out in Alberta hunting deer. It was the Boddington Experience was one, and the other was the first show for Trigicon's World of Sports Afield. That was the title of it. It's still on the television. And that we did the first film for that. And then when he finally got his big buck, he got bucks all the time, but when he finally got his big buck, it was, I don't even 210 or something like that, a big buck, and we didn't film it. So it was the first day, but it doesn't matter. It was all good fun, yeah, and a good guy to be with too. Really, really good. No, there's no errors with him at all. What you see is what you get, and he's straight up and good.
Absolutely. Well, Jim, it's been a real pleasure talking with you today. And, like I said, everybody will be able to take a look at the contact information down below. You just click on the link, and you'll be connected right up with Black Gold Lodge.
Yes.
Great place, it looks like, up north. Haven't been there yet.
Will be.
I may have to change that. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
And thanks for you, Steve. I really appreciate all your efforts. Thank you very much. Bye for now.
Okay. Goodbye.
I'm known mostly as a hunter, and for sure, I'm no great shakes as a fisherman, but one of my favorite places is my buddy Jim Ruff's Black Gold Lodge at Rivers Inlet on the coast of British Columbia. Try to go up there every July or August for a really good salmon fishing trip, and hey, bring back all the salmon I can and stock up the freezer. And boy, I tell you what, it's a wonderful camp, really a pretty place. Jim has a floating camp, really a floating city that he takes to safe harbor during the winter, and then after the ice breaks up, he floats it into place and secures it to the shore. It's a very, very comfortable camp with great food, and the salmon fishing is fantastic. You know, I am a hunter, and one of the great things about salmon is really hunt for big salmon as much as fish for them. Hey, we fish for silver salmon, and we fish for the big king salmon, and it is really great when you tie one of those big babies onto the line. Black Gold Lodge, a wonderful place.